and I just got up to work. It's snowing, and I just wanted to show what it looks like. I'm probably not going to be friending a whole lot of people anymore on Facebook, because, yeah, that's going to probably end up being more of a private account, more of like a private thing, unless they're very close to like some of the people that I follow. Then maybe not, because I don't really feel like putting up with this nasty business which people have been involving themselves in regarding using your social media against you. And to be honest, I mean, this is kind of what it looks like right now where I'm working. And I don't really feel like trusting my personal information and on the platforms. Like, I think a wise idea is don't mention where you work on the internet, because that can come back to bite you in the butt, especially if you're a pro-Trump person. They can try and get me fired. That may be around there if you work at a school. I don't know about any other kind of jobs, like government work, but I find that not revealing that sort of information is a good idea. You know, I think we should have been more private back even in the early 2000s. We should have been a little bit more private, but social media has basically allowed us to be less private, more sharing of ourselves. Maybe that's kind of what they wanted, because then they can get the people that they disagree with, they need to kick them out of the places that they're working, make them suffer, because I don't know, being a asshole is enough to make is a really worthwhile endeavor. You know, I think people who censor other people are idiots. Yeah, I'm out in public. On top of that, I'm at work, and the picture you're seeing right here of the snowing, that's what it looks like at work right now. It's all snowing, and I just don't and I just don't want to have to put up with like, I'm probably going to end up taking a lot of my personal beliefs in terms of religion and whatnot off of Facebook. I mean, it's off of YouTube, maybe YouTube, but even that won't safeguard you, because if you do anything else on something like BitChute or Gab or everyone's favorite left-wing echo chamber, Twitter, which I don't know why anyone still uses Twitter. You know, I don't know why you're using Twitter, use Minds. I mean, Minds doesn't support Minds isn't pro. Minds isn't pro pedophile. Like Twitter is. You know, yeah. And even Google, with the YouTube platform, has finally dealt with Onision. Like how long has it taken YouTube to deal with Onision? Like that guy, I've heard so much about him throughout the years. Like, I was wondering when they would kick him off. Not kick him off, but demonetize him. Like, at the very least, you know. But that whole situation kind of has made me thinking that maybe YouTube is expanding is stepping over bounds, when it should really only be strictly dealing with its own content, not with the content of other people. But that's how these tech monopolies work. They work together. That's one of the... I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I see it as a net negative, but I don't know. I'm just some guy talking about things like thinking for oneself, not taking not just taking what the alt media says, but also not just taking alt media on their word, but also taking the mainstream media on their word. The MSM both need to be held in equal accountability. Like, as much as I like Styx or Sargon of Carl Benjamin and Milo Yiannopoulos, yeah, I kind of like Milo Yiannopoulos. Some people don't like him. I think he's a little funny. I mean, he's a funny person to watch sometimes. But, you know, any of these other people and how they're so ridiculed, I still think they should be held accountable, you know, for what they say. Especially people like Vosh. Like, man, Vosh is such a cringy guy. You know, but I'm not going to really get into much of Vosh. Yeah, I'm not going to get into Vosh and into too much detail, because if you go to his channel, that says enough about how his channel, how like you're some of the things that he said in that Styx video, in his video remarks about Styx, was just like cringe. Some of that wouldn't even hold up in court. What does cross-dressing have to do?
By the way, as for my appearance, because leftists spurg out whenever they see somebody who's actually capable of defending themselves, I do this sort of thing on purpose. It's to antagonize you. I'll tell it straight up to your face and you'll still be antagonized and spurg out because you're too fucking stupid to act any differently. I've been doing this for a very long time and find it hilarious.
With what's being talked about in the video, looks like you're just throwing it looks like you just it feels like you're a chimpanzee throwing poop at someone. Like, and I'm not surprised. Vosh is, when I looked at his channel, the first thing that pops up, bashing conservatives. How mature. And I bet you he calls a conservative salty. And his fans call conservatives a bunch of salty people. I remember when the leftists screamed that when Donald Trump won the presidency. So don't be pulling that nonsense. Salty conservatives. I remember that video of that guy going, no! Because, like, anyone who remembers that back in 2015, that was ridiculous. Yeah, leave it to a bunch of brainless liberals. And when I mean brainless, I mean they've been so open-minded that the brain fall out of their head. No, brain's not in their head anymore. Don't be replaced with cybernetics. All replaced with Elon Musk's Borg technology. We are the Borg. Resistance is futile. We will add your biological collective distinctiveness to our own. I mean, that's what they sound like. Bunch of NPCs. Not to say that there aren't NPCs on the right. But it's like, yeah. That's just funny to me. I think people like that, and those are people not worth talking about anyway. Like Vosh isn't even worth the time to even talk about. Maybe in passing every once in a while. It's like Ben Shapiro. What's Ben Shapiro known for? Being a whiny conservative, being a whiny conservative. He's as much a whiny conservative as some of these whiny liberals that I hear talk about how this game needs to be needs to be more inclusive. Because, I don't know. Why? This isn't Hidden Figures. This isn't Hidden Figures where we're going to space. This isn't like the space program, where it was done mainly out of practicality. Because segregation isn't just anti-capitalistic because you're basically limiting the potential customers that you're bringing in. It's just not practical from a business, from an operation standpoint. Seriously, segregation was one of the dumbest things ever conceived, or not dumb, silly things. I forget I'm in public. Silly things conceived by a bunch of irrational people, a bunch of the race version of an obsessive compulsive. That's what this replaced germs with black man, and that's what you have. Irrational, impractical people and that's really the reason why slavery is, why racism is ridiculous. Because what NASA is trying to do, for instance, get a man into space. How can you do that when you have black area here, white area there? You gotta walk across there.
Black History Month, you find Ridiculous.
Why?
You're going to relegate my history to a month?
Oh, come on.
What do you do with yours? Which month is White History Month? No, well, come on, tell me.
Well, I'm Jewish.
Okay, which month is Jewish History Month?
There isn't one.
Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Do you want one?
No.
I don't either. I don't want a Black History Month. Black history is American history.
How are we going to get rid of racism?
Stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. I know you as Mike Wallace. You know me as Morgan Freeman.
The whole thing, especially the president and Democrats now are talking about income inequality, and that's basically what, when you talk about the richest 85 people on the planet, right?
Yeah.
It's income inequality. Do you think that's, looking at, what's happening in the news now, is that a good idea?
It's a great idea. It is the greatest idea. We have a much more vibrant society when we don't have such a vast chasm between the haves and the have-nots. We need that middle ground that we call the middle class, the people who buy everything, people who use the products that the rich are creating, if they're creating anything other than wealth, right?
Right.
So it's what's happening with the Chinese economy right now. They're changing their whole outlook because they need consumers.
Yeah.
And without a middle class, you're not going to have consumers. You're not going to have it at the level that we normally would have it.
So can I go back to, because I thought what you said was fascinating, because you called it bull when you said people can't, pull themselves up. Do you think that race plays a part in wealth distribution, or either a mindset that you can't
Today?
or cannot? Yeah.
No.
You don't?
No, I don't. Hey, you and I, we're proof. Why would race have anything to do with it? Put your mind to what you want to do and go for that. It's kind of like religion to me. It's a good excuse for not getting there.
Yeah. I said, and it's probably get me in trouble, but I said to some of my colleagues recently, I know that it's an issue, but it seems like every single day on television I'm talking about race, and it's because of the news cycle, it's in the news, but sometimes I get so tired of talking about it, I want to just go, this is over, can we move on?
And if you talk about it, it exists.
Right.
Yeah. It's not like it exists and we refuse to talk about it, but making it a bigger issue than it needs to be is the problem we have.
That's not a practical system. That's not a practical system. I'm mainly against racism because it's idiotic. It's idiotic, inefficient. You might as well get along anyway. You might as well get along anyway. It is not because of not strictly because of the emotional reasons, but it's just not efficient for the system and how it works. And I don't think all this race baiting by certain groups left is rational either. Is just. Most of it is virtue signaling anyway. It's like the Christian right back in the day. But yeah, I do think people should be held accountable for their actions. Mainly because it makes a lot of sense to hold people accountable. Yeah, that's about all. Peace out.